Well, it's so good to have you, Kristine Ochu, for this author-thon. You were such a pleasant surprise to meet at the Prosperity Camp, and man, what an amazing group of people there.
It definitely was. It was fantastic to meet you too. Dr. Smiley Ken.
Well, I know when I go to an event like that, I just wish every single person there had a book so I could just get to know them better. So the audience gets to know you better with your book. So please share who you are, why you did your book, and how your book makes a difference in the world.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my name is Kristine Ochu, and I actually grew up in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, and I was a world log rolling champion. And how that relates to the book is that I was surrounded by these lumberjacks and lumberjills that would break world records and train really hard, but as hard as they trained, they still fell off the log or, didn't quite get what they wanted to. They made mistakes. So it just made me realize there's a lot of what we call perfectly imperfect people out there in this world. And I wanted to write a book of three women that were perfectly imperfect, that were relatable, so that women could just like say, oh, that's me, or that's my sister, that's my friend, or I know someone who's gone through that, or I've gone through it. Maybe they can get something out of that. And I wanted to set the story in nature and action packed. So would be not in the office or in the kitchen, and just fill it with women that are made mistakes and are on their self-empowerment journey. So the log line is three best friends, three secrets, and one wild adventure where they must find the courage to confess their truths before they lose everything they love. And the big themes in the story that I wanted to share was through this journey that these characters take, and I can come back to that, but learning how to embrace self-love, forgiveness, and letting go of the past. So basically, the storyline, to go a little bit further into it, was the story of these three childhood best friends that they met when their mothers would meet with this local Ojibwe sage out in northern Wisconsin. And through their mother's friendships with the sage, they became inseparable. And, that happened all the way until they left for college. So we have Annie, Sandra, and Joe. So Annie was like the good girl, the granddaughter of the Bible stomping minister, with her girl next door looks, and who ends up having amazing vocal talent, gets a full scholarship to a music college, but then gives it all up to care for her parents. And then when she falls in love with the charming new minister in town, she stays and ends up being a mother of four and a saint to the community and the church. But over time, through her life of sacrifices, she starts to lose her identity and her faith has gone quiet and she's secretly spiraling. And she hides her desperation by secretly sneaking pills until she ends up in the emergency room. In the meantime, we've got Sandra, who's out in LA, who has a glitzy, perfectly glamorous lifestyle, married to one of the richest men in LA. And she is, though, secretly lonely. She's married a much older man who's lost interest in sex. And so she gets seduced by a charming new friend that turns around and blackmails her for a staggering sum. And everything's at risk for her to lose everything she's worked for. And at the same time, we have the third best friend, Josephine, who is 4 years sober now, who married one of her best friends, Louis, and who is half Norwegian, half Ojibwe, the grandson of the local Ojibwe sage. And together, as youth, they grew up until they fell in love. They end up marrying, have two children, and remain faithful, except for Josephine's other lover, excuse me, which becomes alcohol. And so she hides this and spirals and now, hits rock bottoms, now 4 years sober, but she's unable to really get rid of her guilt and shame. And so she feels unworthy of love and pushes her husband away, and forces a divorce and is months away from it becoming final while Louis wants her back. But when, you know, basically, Annie ends up in the hospital, they reunite and they go on this wild trip where everything starts out wonderful and beautiful and they rebond until the river becomes their enemy and they storms kind of surge and injuries happen and Annie must find the faith and courage to save her friends.
This is movie quality here. This is TV, made for TV or movie, right?
Well, I was trained as a screenwriter, so I write quickly and visually, and yes, a lot of action, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm looking forward to read myself. So I will look forward to also seeing you at next year's event and working with you at the highest level I possibly can. I wanted to ask, how can people reach you?
Yes, they can reach me at Kristine at KristineOchu.com, and that's spelled KristineOchu. And that's also the name of my website, KristineOchu.com. And across all social media platforms, I've just stuck with Kristine Ochu. And I'd love to be friends with you on social media.
I mean, what are the odds that you would have your name and it be the same as your website and all your social channels?
I decided to stick with that.
Well, it
Makes
was
it
great
easy for
meeting you.
people.
And folks, definitely a great person to know and not only follow, but actually read her books and find out how you can play bigger in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.